Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today is day 12 of How to Manifest, our 40-day journey. And today is February 1st. What? Today is February 1st, and wow, we are really pummeling through this year already. Okay, so I'm going to pull a card for us from the Wild Unknown Tarot deck, and let's talk about the energies for today. So today, I am in the northeast of the United States. So the sun is sextile Chiron. The sun is in Aquarius. We are still in Aquarius season. And it's sextile, which is a 60-degree angle. It's a harmonious aspect to Chiron, the wounded healer. And I talked about Chiron a little bit. I forget which day now, but I love the mythology of Chiron, who was a centaur. And he is known as the wounded healer because I originally said he was shot with an arrow to his thigh by Achilles, but it was actually Hercules. And he was immortal, so he couldn't die, but he had this deep wound, and he channeled that energy into teaching and into being a wise, knowledgeable sage. The first wound actually happened because he was born out of, I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, grape. His parents and his mother and father rejected him. So that was the first wound. And then the second wound was him being shot by an arrow by Hercules into his thigh. And he begged the gods to die. And eventually, later on in the story, because he proved himself to be a wise teacher and healer, he became the centaur who was Sagittarius. He became a constellation. So every healer, every practitioner of herbalism, magic, astrology uses Chiron as a way to understand your wound, your deep wounding, but being able to channel that wound into helping others. And the sun sextile Chiron is really like us being able to shine a light and alchemize our wounds and being able to share those lessons with others. And the sun being in Aquarius is all about the collective ideas, future forward thinking, the collective mind. And Chiron is in Aries, and the wounded healer being in Aries is standing up for ourselves, having authority over ourselves, being the author of our own stories, having agency. So it's a beautiful day, really, to because sextiles, you need to do something with this energy. It's not like a trine where it comes easily and it flows, but it's really a good day to be contemplative and ask yourself some of the wounds that you've had to go through, and the ways in which these wounds have also taught you certain things about yourself. And we got the Father of Cups, which is the King of Cups. And I love this in the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. So the Father of Cups is somebody who is deeply emotionally intelligent, somebody who allows the emotions to come through and allows the emotions to carry with it energy and information, because that's all emotions are. They're just energy and memories and information for us to understand like the state of our being and how we truly feel about things. All the cups cards speak about our memories, our emotion, our emotional body, being intuitive, being psychic, and actually being intuitive and psychic is all of our inherited magical gifts that we just have that ability, but we maybe forget them over time because you know right brain thinking, intuition, creativity is not as fostered in our culture, but left brain, intellectual, logical is the left brain. So this is really asking to tap into your emotional body, being honest with your feelings, because that's where really manifestation starts. as I said yesterday, we want to manifest the state of being, the feelings that we believe the thing will give us. So when you focus on the state of being that you want to be in, you can have that right now. I was actually thinking about what I wanted to say today because today is one of my favorite topics, which is rewilding. It's syncing back with the natural cycles of nature. And one one of the best ways to divest from capitalism and to prevent burnout. And have if you are an adult in 2023, you've probably experienced some kind of burnout, is to sink back into the cycles of nature, which I just call rewilding. This isn't stuff that I made up. This is just stuff that I believe in and I continue to teach on. And people always say, like, it's not my fault, or I didn't decide to live this way, and I didn't decide to create the system. Right, but we still participate in it. We still have a collective agreement that we have to have a job or multiple jobs to live, to buy food, to exist here on this planet. Whereas, and I'm so preachy about this because it's so much in like my core values of like if we as a society, like we all understand that we need food to eat, we need water to drink, we need healthcare, we need like basic resources, then how as a collective have we gone so far, um, how we've gone so far that we haven't collectively agreed that like everyone deserves education, everyone deserves resources to live, just to exist here on this planet. And I'm I'm like continuing to divest in capitalism because it's exploitative and it's extractive and it doesn't allow us to be in our own energy, in our own natural cycles with nature. And like I was saying to my sister, like people who say, I can't wait for the weekend or I can't wait for to sleep in, like that is so possible. Capitalism is just one option that we've all collectively agreed upon, but there's so many other ways in which we can live. And we just haven't reimagined it because we continue to feed into we continue to contribute and feed into it and agree and accept it. But I really do believe with Capricorn, with Pluto in Capricorn, some of those structures and some of those ideas are dismantling. And we'll see when Pluto goes into Aquarius, when, I mean, during the panorama, it was proven that people can work from home, people can work remotely, people can do these things on the internet. So why not allow people the freedom? Why not allow people their own, schedule, their own agency? It's just this system of control that wants you to be in an office, be in a cube. And so we'll see with Pluto going into Aquarius. It'll be there March to June of this year, but then for 20 years from 2024 to 2044. So it'll be out of Aquarius when I'm 62. Like that's crazy. That's a long transit. That's a long time of transformation. So I think also with all of this Aquarius energy, the tendency is, and I have an Aquarius moon and Venus, is to be all in our head and forget about our heart. And the Father of Cups is just reminding us to come back into our bodies, come back into our heart, come back into our heart center and asking ourselves, like, what is really important for us? What is really important for us? That's such a huge question when you're manifesting because oftentimes we get carried away by what we think we want because we think we want something. But really, if you drop down in your heart, and I ask people this all the time, like, what is it that you really want? Most people will say, I want peace. I want freedom. I want true love. I want to feel abundant. And those are all feelings. Again, this is all state of being. It's not things. You can't take money with you when you die. You can't take anything with you when you die. So really, like, what will you regret when you are on your deathbed, you probably won't regret being a manager of a Fortune 500 company. You most likely will regret not telling that person you love them. You will most likely regret not going on that trip, that life-changing trip. You will regret not taking those chances because you were afraid. So I'm going to read the quote at the top. Today is day 12, ReWILDing. And into the woods I go to lose my mind and find my soul, attributed to John Muir. Have you ever noticed that nature is green? When we think of nature, we think of green trees and abundant growth, green grass, green leaves. In the same way, so many symbols of creativity and abundance are related to the color green. The heart chakra is green. US paper money is green. In early modern Europe, the color green was associated with wealth, banks, and the gentry. Green jade is tied to wealth and abundance, along with divine wisdom and harmony. It's not a coincidence. Modern civilizations are out of sync with nature and the natural cycles of the life, death, and rebirth process of transformation. With the advancement of technology comes great progress, but our reliance on technology is also detrimental to our natural way of being. We have become disconnected from ourselves, our bodies, and our internal clocks. For example, during the winter months, we should be more yin or more receptive. It's a time to rest and conserve our energy. But since we have electricity, light, and technology, nothing can stop us from burning the proverbial midnight oil. If we never left our climate-controlled homes, we'd barely know it was winter at all. With advancements in farming and agriculture, we can eat strawberries all year round, and because we are so far removed from the supply chain, we often don't understand what it takes to grow the food we eat and how many hands need to handle our products before they get to us. This kind of massive disconnect on all levels has a real effect on our energetic lives, and it can make the process of manifestation that much more difficult. Part of tuning into creative energy is learning how to rewild ourselves. This means syncing ourselves back into natural cycles. It means retraining our bodies so that they know when to take action and when to rest. It means reestablishing that there is a time to create, die, rebirth, and transform. In many ancient cultures, the symbolism of the Ouroboros is aligned with infinity, wholeness, and the cyclical nature of our lives. The Ouroboros is an image of a serpent in a circular formation eating its own tail. The Ouroboros is a visual metaphor for life. Life is predicated on a death and rebirth process, an alchemical process of being rebirthed from what is dead. I have traveled to more than 58 countries around the world, and each funeral or burial service I've witnessed was such an eye-opening experience. Different cultures process death in so many different ways, and the variety of rituals associated with the end of life are staggering. When I visited Indonesia, I learned that they see death as a rite of passage from a human embodiment back to the source. When someone dies, the community comes together to mourn and celebrate the person's human life. Being in nature always connects me to the energy of oneness that ties us all. Like Iwa from the movie Avatar remarks, when asked about the name of the guiding force of Pandora, who's Iwa? Only their deity, their goddess, made up of all living things. It's the circle of life from The Lion King and the spirits introduced by Grandmother Willow and Pocahontas. I'm an 80s kid, so I always reference Disney. This universal natural energy is a concept repeated over and over again in the stories we tell each other. This is an especially valuable concept for women and for anyone who wishes to identify with the feminine principle within ourselves. As Clarissa Pinkola Estes writes in her book, Women Who Run with the Wolves, when women reassert their relationship with the wildish nature, they are gifted with a permanent and internal watcher, a knower, a visionary, an oracle, an inspiratrice, an intuitive, a maker, a creator, an inventor, and a listener, who guide, suggest, and urge vibrant life in the inner and outer worlds. She further describes how that figure, the wild teacher, wild mother, wild mentor, stays with them to support their inner and outer lives. The natural world is relentless and unchanging, and if you align yourself with its power, you gain an unending support. The best way to heal your burnout and remind yourself to slow down is to be in nature. When you slow down, you could hear the inner calling of your soul. You can quiet your erratic mind and ground your energies to the earth. The earth reminds us of how abundance is all around us and inherently within us. As we are part of this earth, our bodies will die and decompose into the earth one day. Our cells become a part of the soil, which become fertile for new life. Just as we are stardust, we are part of the life and death process of this earthly plane as well. We live in a society and culture that often values the logic, intellectual mind versus the intuitive one. Intuition, which cannot be quantified or given evidential proof, is our wild, innate state of being. We rely on our intuitive to create. I'm American, which is a capitalistic society that often preaches that more is better and faster is better. I've learned that this is a fallacy. Faster and quicker helps you to be distracted from what really matters in life, and unlike the natural world, it is unsustainable. New York City is the capital of efficiency, and when I lived there, I felt like I had to move fast enough to keep up with this tempo. Walking fast, talking fast, fast food, fast everything. During the 10 years I lived in the city, everything was a blur because I was always on the move. To where? I'm not sure. I don't want to rush through my life anymore. I want to move through life slowly and intentionally. And I want the same for you. Take this day not just to reconnect with nature, but to consider the desire that animate you in everyday life. Are you being driven forward by the beat of more, more, more? Or are the things that motivate you organic and aligned with your true purpose? In her book, The Soul of Money, author Lynn Twist writes, "The greatest teacher of sufficiency is nature and the natural laws of the earth." She also asks whether we can change our relationship with money and reconsider the belief that more is better. She asks us to consider reinvestigating our understanding of what is already in our lives, writing, rather than growth being external and acquiring and accumulating money or things. Can we redefine growth to see it as a recognition of and appreciation of what we already have? What does growth mean to you? Who will you be once you have grown? And what will you need to do to get there? So the exercise for today is forest bathing. Shinrin Yoku, translated into English, means forest bathing. Taking a leisurely walk in a forest is a therapeutic reprieve from modern life. It was developed in Japan in the 1980s as preventative health care and is considered to be healing in Japanese medicine. Take a 30-minute walk in nature, preferably in a forest if one is available to you. Take note of what you see and how the experience makes you feel. Try not to judge or evaluate. Let nature speak to you. Whatever you experience will be worthwhile and meaningful. And the Go Deeper exercise is read Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Go on a hike or visit a nature preserve for the day. If you have been thinking of visiting a natural wonder that is nearby but just don't ever have the time, do that today. Yes, this chapter is so important to me. This day is important to me because of what I shared with you. 10 years of living in New York City and just being a modern day human. You're always like on the go, always reaching the next goal, always like these like milestones that you hit, the next one, the next thing, and never truly like savoring life. That's where I was even like a couple years ago. And I just didn't want to do that anymore because I felt like I was rushing through life and I never felt happy in the moment. I was always like, okay, I want to make this amount of money. I want to live here and I want to do these things, and always living for the next thing, but never truly like, it's very North Node and Taurus, like being very present with yourself and your life and like asking myself, like, why do I want these things? And I'm not saying that wanting things is a bad thing, because we are physical beings. We deserve to have all of the physical things that this life has to offer. But when it becomes an obsession and when it becomes something that like you're never satisfied with, that's the question to ask yourself. And it's so interesting because we can manifest certain things so easily while other things just seem elusive to us. But that's going back to Chiron and the wound. That is a lot of information of where you might need to do more inner work, because um, when we were taught that when we want something, we look outside of ourselves to get it. We never point that energy back towards us. So, for example, um, romantic love and partnership is never something that I'm ever worried about, because it always works out for me. I always meet the right person at the right time. Um, and I'm never afraid of that. So I manifest it super easily. But there's other things in my life that are more difficult for me to manifest, because that's the thing that I feel a void of and I feel a lack of, which is why it's something that I become obsessed with, and it's something that, like, but that's like the deep wound. So when you find yourself like wanting something, ask yourself, what is it about that thing that seems elusive to me? It's like very much like the devil card in tarot, and like the Capricornian energy of like um something that bedevils us, something that we become obsessed with, is the very thing that we have to give ourselves first. So like just look at what you're manifesting or wanting, and then point that energy back to you instead of projecting it out. Because when you project something, when you chase something, you push it further away. And so like if you are somebody who is manifesting a long-term partnership, ask yourself why, and what is it about that state of being that you are seeking? So if it's love or um, safety or whatever you believe that that person is going to give to you, give to yourself first, because you can't manifest, you can't want what you already have. And we're going to talk more about this in the coming weeks about energy and how that works, because it's like um this like cosmic trick sometimes, that like the very thing that we want is the very thing that we need to give ourselves first. And it's like, okay, universe. And I just saw 2222 as I said that. So that was definitely a message. Okay, so tomorrow, just a sneak peek, is day 13, joy and play. And we start to get into the fun stuff about this journey before we get into the heavy stuff of this journey. And just as a reminder, you don't need the book to follow along, but if you did, my book is available at barnesandnobles.com, Amazon, Kindle, Audible, bookshop.org, and IndieBound. And if you want a one-on-one session with me in Reiki or astrology, I read charts. Look at the links down below. I will never DM you. So I hope you have a beautiful day. And please remember to rewild. Like, go out in nature, do the exercise, and just like take this time, because this is Aquarius season. We are fixed air. This is the time for us to dream, and this is the time for us to be still. Like, don't pressure yourself to do all the time, because that time is coming. So I send you so much love and have a beautiful day. Bye.